Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a first look at a brand new game which just came out today. It's called Mars Horizon. The game is about running a space agency in an effort to get to Mars. Now this is a strategy game. I don't know a lot about it. There's been a demo that came up and sort of left Steam. It was part of the Steam Autumn Festival. I know, I've seen some interesting trailers. I've seen a very small amount of gameplay, but it looks pretty interesting to me. I'm curious how similar to like Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager it is. I think you actually get to see spacecraft in flight, unlike that game where it was more of like still images that were pieced together, but I'm really curious to see how this game plays. I think it looks really interesting. It is, I believe, it's made or published by Orc Digital, and I guess we'll just jump in. The game, just to start off here, you have 5 different space agencies that you can play as. You can play as the European Space Agency, ESA. You can play as NASA. You can play as the Soviet Union / Russia. It has both a Soviet flag and a Russian flag here. So I'm not sure what the time frame this game covers, but I'm wondering if it starts in the Cold War and then goes into modern times, or whatever. It says it's the Soviet Union though. You can play as the People's Republic of China, or you can play as Japan. I'm hoping they add more countries in the future. I think it would be cool if they add like the Indian Space Agency, which is another major player, at least in the modern space era. And you can see each different country has different perks. So, for example, the ESA gives you 50% more rewards for joint missions, presumably because it's sort of built around an intergovernmental model of space exploration. You can, as NASA, you get, for example, achieve top 3 milestone rank into double support. 3 additional contractors are available once contractors are unlocked, and maybe that's to represent like America's sort of historical dominance in aerospace, or total astronaut recruit pool size is doubled. Europe also has science income bonus from friendly and allied diplomatic relations, and double a chance of being offered joint missions. So sounds like you can do missions with other space agencies, which sounds kind of cool. I'm not sure why Europe gets the indicator on the map where their member countries are located, and the United States and none of the other countries get an outline of their borders. Not sure. The Soviet Union, meanwhile, has invalid launch windows become suboptimal launch windows, which I guess means like they've got lower danger tolerances, so you're less likely to just be blocked from having a no launch. You can launch more frequently. Cheaper astronaut hiring and upkeep, and no support penalty for failed missions. So, if you're the Soviets and you blow someone up on the launch pad, no one cares, I guess, because Mother Russia takes predominance. And then you've got the People's Republic of China, which reduces research costs, reduces building construction costs, and gives you a 100% of first phased science rewards, even on failed launches. So I guess you're more likely to get rewards from scientific discovery. Even when you fail, you still sort of get kernels of success out of it. Meanwhile, Japan has achieving a top 3 milestone rank gives science bonus for up to 25%. 25% of funds are rewarded for lucrative type mission requests, and all science-related building adjacency bonuses are doubled. Don't know any of that means. This is the first time I'm playing the game, so I think what we'll do is we'll play as the U.S. Because, hey, I'm in the United States. Specifically, we'll be playing as NASA, and we'll be going from there. You can also customize your agency. I don't see a ton of... okay, so you can actually have different traits for your agency. So right now the U.S. has Bidding War, which is the 3 additional contractors achieving top 3 milestone, and Project Mercury. You can also have backup systems, so can restart a task once per mission, commercial insight, cut price cosmonauts, economical architecture. So there's a bunch of different perks that you can get. Failure's not an option. Double support penalty for failed missions. So I could add that, and that would give me 1 point. So it's kind of, you can kind of add more traits or remove traits to get more points, for example. So some traits are more expensive than others, for example. But we could, because it's not easy, milestone support bonus is only granted for first place finishes, for example, and then that would give me 1 more point, which I could use for more payload reliability or other things like that. I'm not sure. But I think we'll just keep it as the stock bonuses here, but you can see there's a bunch of different traits to choose between if you want to customize your agency. We can change the name of our headquarters. Instead of the Kennedy Space Center, we could call it the Butcher Center, which may not be a good name for a space headquarters that is trying to keep its astronauts alive. But, you know, why not? And then you can see diplomacy starts off with antagonistic diplomacy with Russia, friendly with Europe, neutral with both China and Japan. Not sure about that neutral for Japan, but it basically looks, or sorry, China, but it makes it look like there's two sort of neutral options, one friendly, one antagonistic. We'll leave that all as is. Okay. Hey, Sebastian the skunk. More contractors. We already have the more contractors option. So I'm going to enable the tutorial because it is the first time playing. We're going to play as Pioneer, which is a neutral level of difficulty, so a medium level. It looks like there's Explorer with a more relaxed experience. Missions are less demanding and there will be reduced competition from other agencies. There's Veteran, which as you would guess would be much more difficult. And there's Pioneer, which is sort of middle of the road, which is what we're going to go for. We will enable the tutorial, and we also will auto-resolve request missions. So auto-resolve option will be available for request missions. There's an option to customize the difficulty as well, so we can normalize resources, competition, missions, auto-resolve, and the tutorial, but we'll just leave it all as normal for now, and we'll start the game. Go forth, Pioneer. Welcome, Director. The space race has begun. Staying ahead of the pack will require unprecedented feats of engineering and no shortage of daring. Your role is to develop our space program, leading us into orbit and beyond. Keep our agency at the forefront of space science and inspire generations to come with our triumphs. Humans will one day set foot on another planet. Make sure we get there first. Good luck, Director. Okay. So it's January of 1957, so we are starting at the height of the Cold War, at the start of the space race, so presumably we'll also be able to go to the moon, I would think. You've got the Earth orbiting here. We've got some tutorial screens that are going to come up here. So the solar system screen is your gateway to the various aspects involved in running your agency, such as accessing research and base screens, selecting planets to discover available missions, and viewing recent upcoming events. We'll continue with that. Your current tutorial objectives are tracked here. Completing these tasks is a great way to get your agency up and running. So we want to build a sounding rocket, research a small launch pad, build a small launch pad, and launch a sounding rocket. My first objective is a crucial first step for any new space agency, constructing and launching an experimental sounding rocket to test and improve your booster technology. Selecting planets. Selecting primary planetary body in the solar system screen will display a list of missions associated with that body. Highlight Earth and press this button. Okay. So I'll click on Earth here. And you can see here it's going to guide me through some of this stuff. Test launch. Before launching a payload in orbit, it's vital to test the agency's launch facilities with suborbital flights. These sounding rockets will carry an array of sensors and other experiments, but don't have the power to achieve orbit. Okay. Damn you, Space Karen. What? The mission select screen displays all missions belonging to the selected planetary body. Details of the currently selected mission can be seen here, such as the length of the mission and rewards on offer. So there's two types of missions, milestones and requests. Milestone missions are important for advancing your space program and will be contested by other agencies. They will often require additional research. Request missions will become available as your agency completes milestone missions and can be a valuable way of boosting your support and science. Request missions don't require additional research, but each is only available for a limited time. So I'm guessing like milestones are sort of like the space race, and then requests are more like these are things that maybe the Air Force wants us to do, or something that a science body wants us to do, or something that are less prestige driven, I would guess. Research requirements required to unlock the currently selected mission will be listed here. Note that all required research has already been completed for a test launch. Okay, so we're going to have to do research and R&D and things like that to advance and be able to accomplish and unlock different milestones or different missions. That makes sense. All of the space agencies will be racing to complete milestone missions first. Doing so will result in increased support. So again, this is the prestige element. So all of the 5 different agencies are sort of trying to one-up each other and do better than the other. And, if you're the first to send a satellite into space, the first to send an animal into space, the first to send humans into space, all those different things will give you prestige and sort of allow your agency to gain prestige relative to your opponents. Now, with that being said, You know, 1957, I don't know that the European Space Agency existed. I don't know that Japan had much of a space program in the 1950s, or even really China for that matter. But regardless, there are 5 different competing agencies involved in the game. Once you're ready, select plan mission to start planning the test launch mission. Okay, so we'll follow that. So we have to select a launch vehicle. That makes sense. Each mission takes up... Okay, so the mission plan includes each stage necessary to take a mission from the drawing board and up into space. Note that each mission plan takes 1 mission slot. You can unlock additional slots by constructing mission-controlled buildings. Okay, so this is a little bit like Buzz Aldrin Space Program Manager, where you have sort of a capacity of how much or how many people or how many things you can be doing at once, and you have to build upgrades to your facilities or build new buildings to unlock additional capacity. So that makes sense. A test launch has no payload, so you can get straight to designing the launch vehicle. Okay, so we'll click on the vehicle here. Build the sounding rocket. Okay. Let's see here. This is the vehicle designer where you'll be able to design the vehicle for your mission. Okay. A vehicle is made up of a booster and an upper stage. The booster must be able to carry the upper stage, while the upper stage must be able to carry the payload. Note that for a test launch, only the sounding rocket may be selected, and there's no payload. Okay, so this is cool. So we're going to get to build our own rockets. I don't think it's going to be quite as modular as something like Kerbal Space Program Manager, but it does look like we'll have some sort of puzzle piecing together that we get to do. The vehicle stats. So right now the upper stage is 0 kilograms. Suborbital, 0 kilogram booster. So it requires a small launch pad. So we're going to have to build that in order to launch the vehicle. It's got a 25% reliability, which seems low, but it'll gain a large amount of... So again, this is very similar to Buzz Aldrin Space Program Manager in the sense that, like, as you succeed and launch more times with a rocket, then you'll gain reliability, presumably through things that you learn about the rocket. I really like that concept, the idea that as you use a test item or as you use a rocket more frequently, you gain a lot more experience with that item. You tweak and find bugs, you make it better, and I think that's actually a sound concept. Okay. So I guess as we're confirming the design, I don't quite understand why the booster capacity is 0 and the upper stage is 0. Again, I would assume the booster has to have a better lifting capacity than the upper stage has cost, but I'm wondering if just because it's a sounding rocket, it's just a default and it doesn't have values here. It's going to cost 80 grand and take 2 months. Once the vehicle's been constructed, I'll receive construction report from my engineers. This will often include traits that may affect how you approach the next mission of mission plan. Okay. A construction report. Interesting. Constructing the vehicle. If you have the necessary funds, you can start constructing the vehicle. This takes several months. Once the vehicle is completed, you'll be able to move to the final stage of the mission plan and set a launch date. Okay, interesting. So there's different information that tooltips will provide over the screen when we hover over expected reliability, for example. Determines the chance of a vehicle launching without an error. It looks like there's a 19% chance of a critical failure, which I assume means the rocket will basically blow up. A 56% chance of a negative event, which means something goes wrong. Maybe there's something we can do when a negative event occurs during launch that allows us to fix it. Again, very similar to Buzz Aldrin Space Program Manager. Launch success is only 19%, and a positive event would be a 6%. Not quite sure what that means, but let's go ahead and build the vehicle. Impavid? Construction order Impavid. Your engineers will be constructing immediately. Impavid will be completed on March 1957, 2 months from now. Okay. Researching the launch pad. Okay, so now we've got to go ahead and research the launch pad. So we go in here to our research section here to access research. Looks like there's sort of a linear tech tree that we can uncover different events and things like that. So there's different... the research screen is where you can research new technology vital to progressing your space program. The screen is split into 3 research trees: missions, buildings, and vehicles. This is the mission tree, which contains research necessary to unlock new missions and their respective payloads. Each tree is made up of nodes that represent certain technologies or areas of research. These nodes will often require the completion of other nodes before they can be researched. For example, mission research artificial satellite must be completed before the payload research beneath can begin. Makes sense. You can see again, it's just like a simple tech tree. I think this is really intuitive. There's different eras. New era unlocks new planetary bodies. You get more powerful rewards if you research every tree within an era. And when I'm ready to build the select buildings, or sorry, when you're ready, select the buildings tree in order to find the small launchpad research. Okay. So the building tree is the same. You know, you've got a building, we've got a headquarter built already, we've got a vehicle hangar built already. So both of those are checked. That allows us to move down to the small launch pad. So we'll build that. Looks like the small launch pad costs 50 grand, upkeep 5K, building time 1 month. Launch pads are essential service structure for launching vehicles and allowing maintenance to work and provide data about the vehicle ahead of launch. Okay, so now what? Do I just exit out of here? Vehicle trees. The vehicle tree consists of the technologies required to unlock bigger and better launch vehicles. As your agency develops increasingly advanced payloads, so too must your booster technology improve for each mission. You'll need a vehicle capable of carrying the payload to its destination. Vehicle research nodes are divided by their type. Most vehicles used in missions will require a booster and an upper stage research. Later on, you'll be able to research supplementary boosters to make us even more powerful. Okay. I don't know that I need to research anything right now. I mean, obviously, right now we're working on the sounding rocket. We've already researched that. We will need to research more advanced boosters, the Vanguard booster or the Viking upper stage. You can see that leads us down into a sort of a tech tree here where you've got upper stage Able, you've got upper stage Jupiter, and upper stage Scout. Then it brings you to the Redstone missile, which is a historical missile. You've also got the Delta. I'm not familiar with Star 37. Atlas, Redstone, Argol, Jupiter, Delta. Okay, so it does look like, as the United States, we are going to have historical boosters. Obviously, Redstone and Jupiter were, but as we scroll further down, we can see there will be Titan 2s, which were sort of a historical ICBM that was purposed as a booster. You've got the Centaur, the Aegina. You've got the Saturn 2, Saturn 4, Saturn 5, Saturn 1B. You've got SRBs, sort of for, I'm assuming those are like side solid rocket boosters. Delta 4, which is a modern heavy lift booster. Titan 3s, Atlas, Athena. The Space Shuttle is on here. The Titan 3C, the Delta. So again, we're scrolling down and we're seeing a lot of historical booster options. I'm assuming these are all historical now. And then even into the SLS block, so the rocket that NASA is currently working on for getting Americans back beyond to the moon and to Mars. That's what the SLS rocket's being worked on. It'll be interesting to see if that program ever really gets off the ground. They're supposed to do the first test launch, I believe, next year sometime for the SLS, but it's like $2 billion a rocket, and with some of the stuff that SpaceX is doing, there's questions on whether this program will be canceled or not. I'm a little leery of putting all the eggs in the SpaceX basket. I think having an alternate, whether it's SpaceX or NASA or you know, someone alternative to SpaceX, I think is important. You know, competitive commercial programs make a lot of sense for things like satellites that there's a lot of demand for. I'm not sure it makes as much sense for planetary exploration. And so in some sense, I think NASA still doing their own thing makes sense, at the very least, to put pressure on commercial programs like SpaceX to develop their own platforms. But in any event, what am I supposed to do now? I guess we'll just exit back out of here. Keep track of our resources. So this is our cash up here, 20K in the bank, plus 53K. It looks like that we'll be getting over the next month. Looks like we're going to get 112 research, I'm assuming. So you can see support is primarily earned by completing missions. Earning plus or down thumbs, or up or down thumbs, is key to researching higher funding tiers, which will increase your monthly funds income. Is required for constructing vehicles, buildings, and many other key aspects. Yeah, obviously we need money. Science is earned from missions in certain buildings, and it's crucial to conducting research. The more science you collect, the faster you'll be able to unlock new technologies. And then the up-down thumbs are sort of support. I'm guessing it's 50, a base of 100, but I'm not sure. Upcoming events related to your agency will be shown here, along with the number of months before they occur. funding review. So it looks like in 12 months we'll have a funding review, and then we'll get a determination on whether we'll get more funding. So in 12 months we'll get funding review. In 2 months the IMPAVAD will complete its construction. Past events will including notable news relating other space agencies. Keep an eye on these events to see what other agencies are up to. Okay. There's a lot of similarities to Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager, by the way, in this. All right, so 1 month in, launch pad's complete. So now we're going to want to go ahead and accessing the base screen to start the construction of a small launch pad. So we've already done the research to build a small launch pad. Now we need to go ahead and build a small launch pad. So this is our space base, or our space facility here. Okay. So we can use these. Okay. So let's build a building. We'll go ahead and build a small launch pad. Okay, so it's going to cost a month to build. We're limited to one of the items, 50K cost, 5K upkeep. Where do we want to put the building? New buildings can be placed wherever there's sufficient space. Building on top of removable obstructions is possible as long as you can afford the additional cost of removing the obstruction. Each building has potential positive and negative adjacency effects determined by the building it's placed next to. Try placing this one alongside different buildings to compare effects. Plan your base layout carefully to get the most out of positive adjacency effects. But remember, you can always move your buildings later. Interesting. Okay. So we get a reduced payload reliability based off of where we're putting it here. If we put it here, it looks like we get reduced vehicle build time. I'm guessing this is the hangar here where we assemble our vehicles. So if I put it over here, we have to clear one obstruction, this obstruction over here, which will cost $1,500. And if we just put it out in the middle of nowhere, we don't get any bonuses at all. So it does look like the game does want you to put things adjacent to other items. I guess I'd prefer putting the launch pad somewhere further out where it has more room to grow if I want to expand the size of the launch pad, but it did say we can move them whenever. So it's 50K here if I place it where it doesn't need anything cleared. It is 1.5 million to place it here. I don't have that much money, so we're going to put it here where we have enough money and there's no need to clear the buildings. We get +2 vehicle build time because it's adjacent to our hangar. If we put it adjacent to our headquarters, we get lower payload reliability. So we'll put it here where we get the biggest bang for our buck, I guess, and no downsides here. Okay, it's constructing. Once it's complete, we can launch our first rocket, and it'll complete next month when our rocket is supposed to be being built, I think. So we can zoom in here too, so you can see it's a little bit of a cartoony looking screen, but I kind of like the aesthetics of it. It's a little bit. I don't know. I just like it. Okay, Shrek Swamp. Now that the research is complete, you'll need to select a new one. Its good early choice is the artificial satellite mission, which will allow your agency to start working toward putting its first payload into orbit, a major milestone in space exploration. Okay, so we've done the sounding rocket. If we go to missions, we can research an artificial satellite, which is the next one down. You can see there's a whole bunch of different missions that go down this list. But researching an artificial satellite, it'll take up to 300 research points. It gives me a plus or minus of 150 support. It takes 2 months or gives us a science reward of 400 over 2 months. It's an essential first step to any space program. There's no cost to researching it, so that's what we'll focus on. We probably also might want to research... Can I research this while also researching something over here? I mean, it's not telling me to do it, but a rocket test lab will do what? Furthermore, rigorous vehicle engine tests resulting in more reliable launches. Technology hub for your space agency can greatly improve scientific yields from missions, or space assembly, which provides clean room environment, developed complex mission payloads. Probably don't need that yet. Oh, I don't have the money in any event to research any of these. And I don't have money to research a new booster yet, so we'll hold off on that. And if we go down here to Spacepedia, it looks like we've unlocked 2 new things. We've unlocked rocketry and sounding rockets, which will give you a little bit of an explanation of what sounding rockets are. So they're capable of a simple suborbital launch vehicle, typically around 10 to 20 meters in heights. They can carry a small payload of instruments on a short flight reaching between 50 and 150 kilometers in altitude. So basically, they're just test rockets that you shoot up and you measure things and see how it goes. We also unlocked Agency, NASA, which gives a historical overview of NASA, being founded in 1958 by Dwight D. Eisenhower. You can see here all the different launch complexes of NASA here, an old photo that looks like it's been colorized, presumably from the 1950s or maybe early 1960s. I don't know what any of these particular launch pads are. You can see this is a big one here on the end. I can't tell what rocket is there, but it looks like there's a launch vehicle platform here. Actually, it looks like each one of them has one of those. I'm curious how often any of those sort of satellite launch pads ever got used. Like, how frequently were these non-main launch pads used? I don't know, but sure seems like they had a lot of them. All right, so I think we're ready to move to the next month and get the sounding launch off the ground. Sorry, Wolf, did I misspeak? Yeah, obviously that looks like it's Cape Canaveral. I don't know what I said. Okay. A lot were used for the Air Force kneecaps. Interesting. Okay, so our engineers managed to optimize the vehicle's attitude control systems to improve the launch reliability by 5%. So that means our launch reliability is up to 30%. So now that the test vehicle is complete, we move into our launch preparations. You can see here the final stage in mission plan involves assigning crew, deciding on training and program, and setting the launch date. Okay. As this is an uncrewed mission, no crew needs to be assigned. Training is also locked for now until the appropriate buildings are constructed in my base. All that remains is to set the all-important launch date. Select the launch date button to get started. Okay, so it's an uncrewed mission here. Training, there's no related training. Launch date, you need to set the launch date. So it looks like there's different launch windows and things like that. So we can set launch dates due for our mission. Each month represents a launch window. There are 3 types of launch windows: optimal, suboptimal, and invalid. Okay. So it looks like optimal launch day gives you plus 30% reliability, or maybe just gives you 30% reliability. You can get a penalty if you launch in a suboptimal window. Other agencies here, you can view the progress other agencies for the current mission here. So you can see these other guys are researching. We don't see any indication that anybody else is launching. You can see here ideal or optimal launch days look like April, May, June, July, suboptimal in August with a 20% reliability penalty, invalid dates in September. So that's where it said the boost for the Soviets was there are no invalid dates. They become suboptimal dates. Suboptimal, optimal. Okay, so we will just, whoa, this thing scrolls fast. We'll just go with April, the next turn. Okay. Now we just need to confirm mission setup. Launch approved. The mission operations team will begin preparations for the launch. The launch mission will launch on April 1957 in 1 month. Okay. Countdown begins. Test launch 1 month. 10 more months for a funding review. All of our other stuff is in progress. We can see active missions here. We have 1. Doesn't look like anybody else. They've completed their launch, their research, but they haven't scheduled their launches yet. This will be a milestone mission. Okay. Diplomacy, I'm curious about that, but we'll look at that later. Ooh, we're in mission control. Optimal date. No training set. Launch mission. Looks like it's raining. Do we really want to launch in the rain? This seems like a bad idea. Yes, Wolfpack? Terrible conditions, negative 19% launch. So there's an 11% launch reliability. I'm going to reschedule the launch. I don't want to launch in rain. Nobody else is scheduled, so we'll just... What is it now? It's April? So we'll reschedule for May. Houston, we have a problem. It's raining. Sir, it's raining in Florida. Oh. So can you give me the why that matters? Ooh, we unlocked the moon. Research Era 1, Dawn of Spaceflight. As rocket technology advances, so does the prospect of exploring beyond the confines of your planet. Yet the public continue to question whether the fledgling agencies can overcome the dangers of spaceflight. All right, it is now May of 1957. Did these guys already accomplish their mission? I'm confused by what this double I means. All right, looks like weather conditions are pretty good now. So good conditions gives us better launch reliability. 48% chance of a negative event, 16% of a critical failure, 27% of a success, and 9% for a positive event. Well, those are odds I'll throw a dice at.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Give me ignition. Ignition. The rocket is up. We've cleared the tower. What's going to happen? Just waiting to see it explode or something. The following events occurred during launch. Neutral. Secure launch. No mission effect. Okay, so that's good, right? Plus 15% reliability. Phase 1 complete. Plus 50 support, I guess. 250 science. So there you go. We launched a sounding rocket. I completed the first tutorial objective. Your test launch was a resounding success, granting your agency valuable support and science. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this first look and first part of Mars Horizon, a new space strategy game out, available on Steam. I think it's like $20. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of elements that I see from Space Program Manager, and I think this is a really enjoyable little game. Now, this may not have been for everybody. I know I talked and read the tutorials a lot. I will do that less in the following videos. This was truly my first look, my first impressions of the game, and so far I'm really impressed. I think the UI is great. I think the hand-holding early on is pretty good for a new player like myself. I think it would be fun if you could do multiplayer. I don't see that as an option in the game, but that would be kind of cool if you could do multiplayer. Not sure turn-based works for that or not. But I'm curious to see how many different strategies you can take rather than the historical ones or not. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see how the campaign plays out. This was taken from a live stream from my Twitch channel. So with that being said, we'll pick that up next time. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.